Every year, millions of travelers arrive in Vietnam expecting breathtaking landscapes, incredible food, and unforgettable adventures. And in many ways, Vietnam delivers exactly that. From the limestone cliffs of Ha Long Bay to the lantern-lit streets of Hoi An and the endless energy of Ho Chi Minh City, this country has become one of Asia's most exciting destinations. But not every visitor leaves with only good memories. Some travelers lose hundreds of dollars within hours of landing. Others fall victim to scams they never saw coming. Some accidentally break local rules, get stranded in unfamiliar places, or make simple mistakes that turn a dream vacation into a stressful experience. The surprising part? Most of these problems are completely avoidable. A few minutes of preparation can save you money, protect your belongings, and help you experience the real Vietnam instead of dealing with unnecessary headaches. In this video, you'll discover the biggest travel mistakes visitors make in Vietnam, common scams targeting tourists, airport survival tips, important cultural warnings, and practical advice that can make your trip safer, smoother, and far more enjoyable. And stay until the end, because one mistake on this list catches thousands of visitors every year and often happens before they even realize anything is wrong. If you enjoy smart travel advice and want to explore the world with more confidence, fewer surprises, and fewer expensive mistakes, make sure to subscribe. Every week, we share practical travel insights, local secrets, and real-world survival tips to help you travel smarter wherever your next adventure takes you. Now, let's begin. Many first-time visitors arrive in Vietnam expecting a quiet tropical getaway filled with peaceful beaches, friendly locals, and affordable luxury. And while those things certainly exist here, the reality can be very different from what many travelers imagine. Vietnam is vibrant, energetic, and constantly moving. The traffic can seem chaotic. Motorbikes flow through city streets like rivers. Sidewalks often serve as parking areas, cafes, and marketplaces, all at the same time. Crossing the road for the first time can feel more intimidating than some adventure activities. Many tourists also assume that because Vietnam is affordable, every service and product will automatically be cheap. In reality, prices can vary significantly depending on where you are, who you're dealing with, and whether you're familiar with local customs. Another common misunderstanding is that Vietnam is a single travel experience. It isn't. Northern Vietnam, Central Vietnam, and Southern Vietnam each have distinct cultures, climates, cuisines, and travel styles. What works perfectly in Hanoi may not work in Da Nang. What feels normal in Ho Chi Minh City may be completely different in a rural village. The travelers who enjoy Vietnam the most are usually the ones who arrive with flexible expectations, patience, and a willingness to adapt. And this is exactly where many visitors make their first mistake. They assume Vietnam works the same way as home. It doesn't. And understanding that difference can save you a lot of trouble during your trip. Vietnam is generally considered a safe destination for international travelers. Violent crime against tourists is relatively rare, and millions of visitors travel across the country every year without serious problems. However, that doesn't mean scams don't exist. In fact, some scams are so common that experienced travelers recognize them immediately, while first-time visitors often don't realize what happened until much later. Let's start with one of the oldest tricks in the book. Scam 1. The taximeter trick. Imagine you've just landed after a long international flight. You're tired, carrying luggage, and eager to get to your hotel. Outside the airport, a driver approaches and offers a ride. Everything seems normal. The taxi even has a meter. But a few minutes into the journey, the numbers begin increasing unusually fast. What should have been a $10 ride suddenly becomes $20, $30, or even $40. Some dishonest drivers use manipulated meters that run faster than normal, while others take unnecessarily long routes to increase the fare. The warning signs are simple. Drivers approaching you aggressively. Vehicles parked outside official taxi queues. Drivers refusing to estimate a price or insisting that the meter is working perfectly while the fare climbs suspiciously fast. The easiest way to avoid this scam is to use reputable taxi companies, airport transportation counters, or trusted ride-hailing apps such as Grab. A few minutes of caution can save you both money and frustration. Scam 2. Currency. Confusion. Vietnam's currency can be confusing for first-time visitors. The Vietnamese dong uses large numbers, and many travelers are not accustomed to carrying bills worth tens or hundreds of thousands. That confusion creates opportunities for mistakes. A traveler might accidentally hand over a larger bill than intended. In busy tourist areas, some visitors have reported receiving incorrect change after a rushed transaction. Most mistakes are honest misunderstandings, but not all of them. This is especially common during the first few days of a trip when travelers are still adjusting to local currency. The best defense is simple. Take a few minutes to familiarize yourself with the banknotes. Check your change before walking away, and whenever possible, avoid rushing through transactions. Scam 3. The friendly stranger distraction. You're taking photos, exploring a market, watching street performers. Everything feels relaxed. Then someone approaches. They seem friendly. Perhaps they offer help. Maybe they start a casual conversation in excellent English. Meanwhile, your attention shifts away from your belongings. This type of distraction scam exists in many countries around the world, and Vietnam is no exception. While one person keeps you occupied, another may target an unattended bag, phone, or wallet. The majority of locals are genuinely helpful and welcoming. But experienced travelers understand an important rule. Be friendly, but stay aware. Keep bags zipped. Avoid placing phones on tables near busy streets. And always know where your valuables are. Scam 4. Fake tours and tickets. Vietnam offers incredible tours. Boat trips through Ha Long Bay. Motorbike adventures in Ha Giang, river cruises in the Mekong Delta, but not every tour being advertised is legitimate. Some travelers are attracted by unusually low prices only to discover hidden fees, poor service, cancelled departures, or experiences that look nothing like the advertisements. If a deal seems dramatically cheaper than every other option available, there is usually a reason. Before booking, check recent reviews, verify the company, and compare prices from multiple sources. Saving a few dollars is never worth risking an entire day of your vacation. Fortunately, scams are only one part of the challenge. Many visitors lose far more money through simple travel mistakes than through actual scams. And some of the most expensive mistakes happen because travelers believe they are doing everything right. Avoiding scams is important. But surprisingly, many travelers end up creating their own problems through simple mistakes that could have been prevented with a little planning. These aren't dramatic stories that make headlines. They're the small decisions that slowly turn a smooth vacation into an expensive and frustrating experience. Let's look at some of the most common mistakes visitors make when traveling through Vietnam. Mistake 1. Carrying too much cash. Vietnam remains a cash-friendly country in many situations. Street food vendors, local markets, small family-run businesses, and some transportation services may still prefer cash payments. Because of this, many travelers arrive carrying large amounts of money. The problem is that carrying too much cash increases risk. A lost wallet, a misplaced bag, or a simple moment of carelessness can suddenly become a major financial problem. The smarter approach is to carry only what you need for the day while keeping additional funds secured separately. Many experienced travelers divide their money between different locations instead of keeping everything in one wallet. If something goes wrong, they don't lose everything at once. Mistake 3. Ignoring weather differences. Many travelers think of Vietnam as one tropical destination with the same weather everywhere. The reality is far more complicated. Vietnam stretches over a long distance from north to south, creating significant climate differences throughout the country. It is entirely possible for one region to experience sunshine while another faces heavy rain or much cooler temperatures. Visitors who plan their wardrobe based on a single weather forecast often discover this too late. Checking the forecasts for each destination, not just the country as a whole, can prevent a lot of discomfort. Mistake 2. Carrying too little cash. Ironically, the opposite mistake is equally common. Some visitors assume they can pay by card everywhere. While card acceptance has improved significantly in major cities, there are still many situations where cash remains the preferred option. Small cafes, street food stalls, local transportation, rural destinations, traditional markets. Nothing is more frustrating than finding an incredible local experience and realizing you have no way to pay for it. Keeping a reasonable amount of local currency available gives you flexibility and helps avoid unnecessary stress. Mistake 4. Booking accommodation in the wrong area. A hotel can look perfect online. Beautiful photos, excellent reviews, affordable prices. Then you arrive and discover you're 40 minutes away from the places you actually want to visit. Location matters more than many travelers realize. A cheaper room far from major attractions can result in higher transportation costs, longer travel times, and less flexibility during your trip. Before booking, study the map carefully. Think about how you'll move around each day. Sometimes spending slightly more on a central location saves both time and money overall. Mistake 5. Underestimating traffic. Many first-time visitors assume they can move around cities as quickly as they would at home. Then reality hits. Traffic in major Vietnamese cities can be intense, especially during peak hours. A journey that appears short on a map may take much longer than expected. Missing tours, arriving late for transportation, or rushing through important plans often starts with unrealistic travel estimates. Always allow extra time, particularly when heading to airports, train stations, or scheduled tours. Mistake 6. Using public Wi-Fi without precautions. Free Wi-Fi is available almost everywhere in Vietnam. Hotels, restaurants, coffee shops, airports. For travelers, this convenience is fantastic. But convenience also comes with risk. Connecting to unsecured public networks can expose personal information if basic precautions are ignored. Avoid accessing sensitive banking information through public Wi-Fi whenever possible. Use secure connections and keep important accounts protected with strong passwords and two-factor authentication. Mistake 7. trying to see too much. Vietnam offers an incredible variety of destinations. Hanoi, Ha Long Bay, Ninh Bình, Sapa, U, Oi An, Da Nang, Nha Trang, Dalat, Ho Chi Minh City, northern mountainous provinces. The temptation is obvious. Many travelers try to fit everything into a single trip. The result is often exhaustion. Instead of enjoying each destination, they spend most of their vacation rushing between airports, buses, and train stations. Vietnam rewards slower travel. Choosing fewer destinations often creates a richer and more memorable experience than constantly moving from place to place. Even travelers who avoid these mistakes can still encounter problems before they even leave the airport. And that's where a little preparation can make an enormous difference. For many travelers, the most confusing part of visiting Vietnam isn't the trip itself. It's the first few hours after landing. You're tired from a long flight. You're navigating a new country. You're dealing with unfamiliar signs, transportation options, currency, and local procedures. And that combination can lead to mistakes before your vacation has even begun. Fortunately, most airport and transportation problems are easy to avoid if you know what to expect. Airport arrival tip 1: don't rush through immigration. After a long flight, most travelers just want to get through immigration as quickly as possible. But rushing can create unnecessary delays. Before reaching the immigration counter, make sure your passport, visa documentation if required, and arrival information are ready. One missing document can send you back to the end of the line. Vietnam's entry procedures are usually straightforward, but preparation saves time and reduces stress. The travelers who move through immigration fastest are rarely the ones rushing. They are the ones who arrive prepared. Airport arrival. Tip 2: buy a SIM card carefully. One of the first things many visitors do is purchase a local SIM card. It's a smart decision. Reliable mobile data makes navigation, ride-hailing, translation apps, and communication significantly easier. However, not every SIM card offer inside or outside the airport is equal. Some travelers pay far more than necessary because they buy the first option they see. Others purchase packages that don't actually meet their needs. Take a moment to compare plans and understand exactly what you're buying. A reliable data connection can quickly become one of the most valuable tools during your trip. Airport arrival. Tip 3: know your transportation options. Major Vietnamese airports offer several transportation choices: official taxis, ride-hailing services, private transfers, airport buses. Each option has advantages depending on your budget, destination, and comfort level. Many first-time visitors automatically choose the first driver who approaches them. Experienced travelers do the opposite. They pause, compare options, confirm price, and understand how they'll reach their accommodation before leaving the terminal. A little planning here can prevent unnecessary stress later. Transportation mistake 1: assuming traffic will move normally. One of the biggest surprises for visitors is the scale of motorbike traffic. In cities like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, traffic flows differently than many Western travelers expect. The system may appear chaotic at first glance, but beneath the apparent disorder, there is often an established rhythm that locals understand instinctively. Visitors who panic while crossing roads often create more problems for themselves. The safest approach is usually to move steadily, remain predictable, and avoid sudden changes in direction. Local traffic tends to flow around consistent movement better than abrupt hesitation. Of course, always remain alert and exercise caution. Transportation mistake 2. Ignoring local transportation apps, some travelers continue relying entirely on street negotiations for transportation. While that can work, ride-hailing apps often provide additional convenience. You can see estimated prices in advance, track routes, reduce language barriers, and avoid misunderstandings about destinations. For many visitors, transportation apps become one of the most useful tools during their entire trip. Transportation mistake 3. Last-minute airport transfers. Vietnam's airports can become extremely busy, especially during holidays, weekends, and peak travel seasons. A common mistake is assuming transportation will always be immediately available. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Scheduling airport transfers with plenty of time before international departures is one of the simplest ways to reduce travel day anxiety. Missing a flight because of traffic is a painful and expensive lesson. Transportation mistake 4. Forgetting overnight travel realities. Vietnam is a long country. Travel between destinations can take significant time. Many visitors choose overnight buses or trains to maximize sightseeing time. These options can be excellent, but travelers should understand what they're booking. Comfort standards vary. Sleep quality varies. Travel durations may be longer than expected. Researching transportation options carefully helps ensure the journey matches your expectations. Once you're finally exploring Vietnam beyond the airports, stations, and highways, another challenge appears. Many visitors unknowingly violate local customs or cultural expectations, not because they're disrespectful, but because nobody ever told them. And in some situations, that lack of knowledge can lead to embarrassment, conflict, or even legal problems. One of the reasons so many people fall in love with Vietnam is its culture. Ancient traditions blend with modern life. Bustling cities coexist with quiet villages. Family values remain deeply important, and hospitality is often extended generously to visitors. Most tourists never experience serious cultural problems. However, there are a few local customs and expectations worth understanding before you arrive. Not because Vietnam is unusually strict, but because showing respect almost always leads to a better travel experience. Cultural warning 1. Respect religious sites. Vietnam is home to countless temples, pagodas, churches, and places of spiritual significance. Many travelers visit these sites for their beauty, history, and cultural importance. What some visitors forget is that these are not simply tourist attractions. They are active places of worship. Locals come here to pray, reflect, and practice their faith. Wearing overly revealing clothing, speaking loudly, or treating sacred spaces as photo studios can be seen as disrespectful. The solution is simple. Dress modestly when appropriate. Speak quietly. Observe how locals behave. A small amount of respect goes a long way. Cultural warning 2. Be careful with photography. Vietnam offers incredible photography opportunities. Colorful markets, ancient architecture, street food vendors, traditional ceremonies, beautiful landscapes. But not every moment should be photographed without permission. Many locals are happy to be photographed when asked politely. Others may prefer privacy. In rural communities especially, asking first demonstrates courtesy and respect. Military facilities, government buildings, and certain restricted areas should also be approached carefully. When in doubt, ask. Most misunderstandings can be avoided through simple communication. Cultural warning 3. Understand the importance of face and respect. In many Western cultures, Direct confrontation is considered normal. In Vietnam, public embarrassment or aggressive confrontation is often viewed differently. Losing your temper rarely improves the situation. Whether you're dealing with hotel staff, restaurant employees, drivers, or service workers, remaining calm and respectful usually produces better results. Travelers who approach challenges with patience often discover that people are far more willing to help. Cultural warning 4. Public behavior matters. Vietnam is generally relaxed and welcoming, but visitors should still remember that local norms may differ from those at home. Excessive public intoxication, disruptive behavior, or disrespect toward local customs can create negative impressions. Most tourists never encounter problems because they simply act with common sense and basic courtesy. The same principle applies almost everywhere in the world. Respect the local culture, and the local culture will usually welcome you in return. Cultural warning 5. Learn a few local words. You don't need to speak fluent Vietnamese, not even close. But learning a few simple phrases can completely change interactions. A basic greeting, a thank you, a polite excuse me. These small efforts often generate smiles and show that you're making an effort to engage with the local culture. People generally appreciate visitors who demonstrate curiosity and respect. Cultural warning 6. Understand local laws. Many travelers assume that because they're on vacation, local laws won't affect them. That's a dangerous assumption anywhere in the world. Vietnam has its own laws and regulations, and visitors are expected to follow them. The vast majority of tourists never encounter legal issues, but ignorance is rarely considered a valid excuse. Staying informed about local regulations is one of the simplest forms of travel preparation. Most of the time, these lessons remain theoretical. People hear them, understand them, and move on. But every now and then, a traveler learns one of these lessons in a way they'll never forget. And one particular story perfectly illustrates how a single small mistake can completely change the course of a trip. Several years ago, a traveler from Europe arrived in Vietnam for what was supposed to be a 2-week adventure. Like many first-time visitors, he had spent months planning the perfect itinerary. Hanoi, Halong Bay, Hoi An, Ho Chi Minh City. Everything was scheduled carefully. Flights were booked. Hotels were confirmed. Excursions were arranged. The trip began exactly as planned. The food exceeded expectations. The scenery was incredible. The people were welcoming. For the first few days, everything seemed perfect. Then, one small decision changed everything. While enjoying a busy afternoon in a popular tourist district, he decided to sit at a cafe overlooking the street. His backpack rested beside his chair. His phone sat on the table. He had done the same thing dozens of times back home. Nothing unusual, nothing risky. Or so he thought. As traffic passed by, he became distracted by the activity around him. A few moments later, he reached for his phone. It was gone. Whether it had been stolen, misplaced, or taken during a brief distraction, he never knew for certain. What happened next was far worse than losing the device itself. The phone contained digital boarding passes, hotel reservations, banking applications, authentication codes, travel documents, emergency contacts, maps, photos. Almost every important piece of information connected to his trip. Suddenly, a simple theft became a serious logistical problem. Hours were spent contacting banks, resetting accounts, recovering access to services, rebuilding travel plans. The remainder of the trip became significantly more stressful than it needed to be. Eventually, everything worked out. He completed the journey and returned home safely. But the lesson remained. The phone wasn't the real problem. The lack of preparation was. If copies of important documents had been stored separately, recovery would have been easier. If critical information had been backed up offline, the disruption would have been smaller. If valuables had remained secured, the entire situation might have been avoided. It's a reminder that travel problems rarely begin with major disasters. More often, they start with small moments of inattention. And that's exactly why experienced travelers focus so heavily on preparation. Because a few simple habits can prevent countless headaches before they ever begin. Fortunately, there are several easy habits that can dramatically improve your travel experience in Vietnam. Let's finish with some rapid-fire survival tips that every visitor should know. Before you travel to Vietnam, here are some quick but powerful tips that can save you time, money, and unnecessary stress. Tip 1. Download offline maps. Mobile data is usually reliable in Vietnam, but signals can occasionally be weak in remote areas, mountains, or during long journeys. Downloading offline maps before you travel ensures that you can always find your way, even without an internet connection. Tip 2. Keep digital and physical copies of important documents. Store copies of your passport, visa information, travel insurance, flight confirmations, and hotel reservations. Keep digital versions in secure cloud storage and physical copies in a separate location from the originals. If something gets lost, you'll be grateful you prepared in advance. Tip 3. Carry emergency cash. Cards are becoming more widely accepted, but cash remains essential in many situations. Keep a small emergency reserve separate from your main wallet. If your primary payment method fails, you'll still have a backup. Tip 4. Use travel insurance. Many travelers skip insurance because they think they'll never need it. Most of the time, they're right. But when something unexpected happens, medical emergencies, lost luggage, cancelled transportation, or stolen belongings, travel insurance can save thousands of dollars and countless hours of stress. Tip 5. Learn a few basic Vietnamese phrases. Simple words such as hello, thank you, and excuse me can make interactions smoother and more enjoyable. Locals often appreciate visitors who make even a small effort to learn the language. Tip 6. Stay hydrated. Vietnam's climate can be hot and humid, especially for visitors arriving from cooler countries. Dehydration can happen faster than many travelers expect. Carry water regularly and pay attention to how your body feels during long days of sightseeing. Tip 7. Save important addresses offline. Don't rely entirely on memory. Save the address of your hotel, embassy, important transportation hubs, and emergency contacts. If your phone battery dies or internet access becomes unavailable, you'll still have critical information accessible. Tip 8. Watch the weather closely. Weather conditions can change quickly depending on the season and region. A sunny forecast in one city does not guarantee similar conditions elsewhere. Checking local forecasts regularly can help you adjust plans before problems arise. Tip 9. Use reputable transportation services. Whether you're booking taxis, tours, airport transfers, or long-distance transportation, choosing reputable providers often reduces risk and improves the overall experience. The cheapest option is not always the best value. Tip 10. Slow down and observe. Perhaps the most valuable travel tip of all. Don't rush. Some of the best experiences in Vietnam happen when you slow down. Sit in a local cafe. Watch daily life unfold. Explore a neighborhood without a strict schedule. Talk to people. Notice the details. The more you observe, the more Vietnam reveals itself. Vietnam is one of the most fascinating destinations in Southeast Asia. It's a country filled with extraordinary landscapes, world-famous cuisine, rich history, vibrant cities, and some of the most memorable travel experiences you'll find anywhere in the world. For most visitors, the trip becomes a collection of incredible memories. Sunrises over rice terraces, boat rides through limestone casts, late-night street food adventures, conversations with friendly locals, moments that stay with you long after you've returned home. But great travel experiences rarely happen by accident. Preparation matters. Awareness matters. Respect matters. The travelers who enjoy Vietnam the most are usually not the ones who spend the most money. They're the ones who arrive informed, stay alert, remain flexible, and embrace the country for what it truly is, rather than what they expected it to be. Avoid the common scams. Learn from the mistakes of other travelers. Respect local customs. Stay aware of your surroundings. And take the time to experience Vietnam beyond the typical tourist checklist. Do that, and you'll discover why so many people visit Vietnam once and immediately begin planning their return. Travel smart. Stay curious. Respect the culture and enjoy every moment of the adventure. Safe travels.